No, yeah.
Later.
I can't later. Yes, about he's got some contract process.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've been even
Yeah, just have her, you don't always say nothing, just have either come up and give her direction.
Well, we got second reading of that ordinance. Budget amendment for tourism and drains. That's already been. I saw there was a budget amendment or something on that.
I'm ready to go back now.
Treat it small, we have the snow outside.
We can't have snow, I don't.
You can tell there was somewhere down in it, there was a ceramic insulator. Explain what she wants on it.
Hi, pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Christmas Eve.
Well, you know, you only have a few days. 4 weeks to wear all
Right,
right.
exactly.
Fine.
All right, stop the clock somewhere.
Somebody above them doesn't know. Somebody else inside. Yeah, it is. She gets around a lot.
No, I didn't do that. I was asked for that to be put on there, so there's some grammar that's not mine. I'm not much
I
better.
got a lot of layers on it. I can shed a few notes inside something.
No. Let's go to January.
You know we're working on Chester. So we'll go that direction more often. You have the reason I'm These are big one is Halloween.
I call to order the meeting of the Monteagle Council meeting today, December 15th, 2025. It's 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Dan, if you'll lead us in prayer.
Yes. Our Father, again this afternoon, we thank you indeed for your love to us. We thank you for the season upon us with the person of the Lord Jesus coming into our presence on this earth. We just thank you for the hope and the dreams of a different life at some point. We thank you for the Christmas season and what it means to us. We want to commit and commend the loved ones down in Australia that had the shooting incident, and we think of our countries around about us that are suffering in various other ways, and how wonderfully we enjoy the freedoms that we do have. We thank you for the city of Monteagle, a place that we can live and call home, and we just realize we're not a perfect setting, but we have a wonderful opportunity here to enjoy life together, and we ask that you'd help us as we conduct the business of the city tonight and give us wisdom and guidance from above. We do ask your blessing on our first responders and our policemen and those that care for us and watch over us through the night hours. And just commit our time to you now, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Mike,
Here.
Here. Okay, everyone's present, we have the quorum. You received the minutes in your packet.
the microphone's not on.
Alice is on.
How's that? Okay.
these other ones working?
Yeah.
Hello?
Thank you. We'll switch back. Okay, you've received the minutes from the previous meeting in your packet. I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Minutes are approved. Any citizens wish to be heard at this time? Citizens' comments? Okay.
I need a business license
And you're moving from a present location to
to Country Market.
Country Mart? Okay. I think it's important that we accommodate this move instead of waiting for January 29th. It wouldn't be fair to business policies. So does anyone have any questions of Jackie on this move?
Is this the permit application we have in front of us?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, where are you moving from?
The main attraction.
Any other questions? I'll accept a motion to accept the application.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Congratulations.
I'll change the locations. Potentially, if there was zoning issues.
Any other citizens wish to be heard at this time? Okay. I have just a few comments. First of all, to thank all those that volunteered, watched, or participated in the Christmas parade and helping with Santa. You always hope for more to attend, but we contacted those that we thought would be in the parade, and they weren't able to at this time for whatever reason. So in the future, we'll try to increase that. The Pirates were here from the Shriners, and that was always appreciated for their constant contributions to the parade process. And they plan on being here July 4th, from what I understand. So thank you to all of those that did all of that work. The next meeting of the Mayor and Alderman is January 26th at 5 o'clock. Parish Planning Commission meeting January 6th at 4 p.m., both Central Time. And then finally, the only thing I have is reserving the right to comment as the meeting goes on. But I wish you all a blessed and joyful Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. We approach the Christmas season and hope that we get through it with peace and some joy. So, best wishes to all of you. Okay, did the calendar events, Police Department?
Good afternoon, Councilman, citizens. I'll keep this brief. I'll just go over the numbers from last month, from the 15th till today. We had 1 driving on revoked suspended, 2 DUIs, 2 domestic calls, 4 drug arrests. We had 2 thefts. We had 57 traffic stops, 34 warnings, 23 citations, and we had 276 calls of service. The only thing I really want to add is we know how foggy it gets here in Monteagle. Last Sunday and Monday, it was extremely foggy. And I know with the newer cars, I guess we rely on them the headlights to turn on, but it doesn't happen sometimes. Just be mindful and just make sure your headlights are on so people can be seen, because we did work, I want to say 9 minor crashes Sunday and Monday, and most of that was because people failed to see other cars. So I just really want to bring that up and just be mindful of that.
Okay. Any questions of the police chief?
Yes, sir. Last month, I don't think you were here last month.
I had a family emergency.
Yeah, they gave us a handout on the Monteagle Police Department. It's got several things, but the first one is January to November of 2025, and it says like total number of calls for service, 3,299.
Yes, sir.
What all is that? I mean, I'm assuming that's everything that you,
You would be correct. So that's going to be 911 calls, it's going to be calls, non-emergency calls, it's going to be traffic stuff, anything that goes through the dispatch center, that's what that is.
that was my question.
Specifically
This
for-
would, all these would have gone through dispatch
Yes, sir.
center?
Yes, sir, all those.
And then it says total number of county assistants, including Grundy, Marion, and THP, 69.
Yes, sir.
So that would be mutual aid?
Yes, sir, that's
And that's
mutual
police
aid.
department only, that's not fire department?
Correct, that's only police department, yes, sir.
Okay. And it says like total number of reports, 145. What, like,
So that's going to be any, whether it's going to be criminal, whether it's going to be someone wanted to file a civil report so they can have it for courts, things of that
like
nature.
what I would used to call an offense report or something?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. And then total number of crashes, 51, which that was just for an 11-month period, but that was down dramatically from last year. You showed 118 for the
Yes, sir.
full 12 months, and
Yes,
the
sir.
previous year to that was 131.
Correct.
So it seems that your crashes have gone down dramatically.
We brought them down dramatically. Obviously, the area of consistency is still the pilot private property. But as far as the main roads in Monteagle, they have went down dramatically. And a lot of that's because speeding has come down and things of that nature.
I had asked Sergeant Carter on last month about the incident with Scott Pilkington, and we kind of had some discussion on that, and I was told by Mr. Lane, where's he at back here, that he felt like maybe I had insinuated that he was involved in a domestic dispute. And I told him I would set the record straight, that if I said that, that was not my intent.
Right.
What I was told was that he was present at a potential
Event.
yeah. And so I need to, if that's how anyone took that, I did not mean that, that he was up there involved personally in a domestic dispute. Does that clear that up, Mr. Lane? You're more than welcome. And then I've got some other stuff, but I don't think we need to, we can do it at a workshop or next month or
Yes, sir.
whatever, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the chief?
I still don't remember.
Thank you.
Okay, you will a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, chief.
Yes, sir.
Fire department?
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have no report. You didn't get any packet in your envelopes tonight because I got the same report as 2 weeks ago. So anyway, November 15 calls. I'm still waiting on the Southeast Tennessee Development. The trucks, all the grant stuff that I reported on prior. Stacy Willoughby's been in and out of the office from the holidays and stuff since Thanksgiving. I think Ms. Deb had actually emailed the truck stuff to her today. That was one thing that we were waiting on. I think all the payments has been submitted from the state back to the city. So I'm just waiting on inventory on that side of it. It's roughly all I have on fire department. I've about 15 calls roughly, give or take a few between medical and fire related drones.
Any questions of the fire chief on the fire report?
Yes. On the medical,
Yes.
can you give us a few more details on that?
Yeah, doing great. I mean, EMS assist right now. We went and met with Don and Stacy out at EMS the end of last month and got everything signed in on the contract side and how we were going to respond. Now we're waiting on dispatch protocol to kind of see, what are we going to run to? I mean, if it's someone with stomach pains or something of that nature versus a heart attack, where are we going to be best suited to respond to these calls to assist? Right now, we're just kind of taking it as they request us. If we hear the call come in over the radio and it's in our city limits, we'll respond to it. Still a great partnership with EMS and everything's working great together.
Okay. If it's out on Trestle Road outside the city limits, you would go as a mutual aid
Sure.
through the ambulance service
That's
then?
right. Yep. So we're falling under Grundy EMS's protocol
Okay.
and covered under their umbrella with all their protocols and directives. So anywhere that the Grundy runs, we'll respond to. Like I was saying last month in Pelham, that's my hometown. So if the truck's sitting down there, and I've got a take-home vehicle, I respond to the Pelham citizens as well. So
Do you keep up with mutual aid calls?
I do, yeah, it varies. I mean, 3
Okay.
or 4 here and there a month roughly.
And that's ones that you ask for assistance from, and then ones you offer our assistance to?
Offering too. Where we request assistance, we don't really, I mean, we log it for the state report, for the NERS reporting system, but we don't really write it down on the scratch paper to tally it up. Most generally, every call that's dispatched that has a working fire, Tracy City or Pelham will come. If it's the interstate, Pelham comes up. If it's on this end, Tracy City comes over.
Do we have mutual aid agreement with the Tennessee Highway Patrol?
Nothing that I know of. It's just a request by request basis.
Do you think it's proper when THP calls the dispatch and asks for Monteagle Fire Department to go down on the interstate and direct traffic?
So I'm just gonna tell you what I tell these guys, I mean, because they drive us nuts with trees down on the side of the road and on the mountain all the time. The night that we say we're not gonna go to that, right? And a carload of a minivan full of mom and childs run through that tree and kills them. They've got 2 choices, hit the tree or run off the bluff. I'm not gonna go to bed the next night. So, I mean, I kind of play it case by case. Do we send the Calgary or do we just send one vehicle? You know, it's, last night I think they went to Summerfield Road for a power line, a pole that had guide wire busted. The line was hanging over the street. I think they took one truck out in a personal vehicle and just kind of blocked the road until the fire thing was done. So we just kind of base it on what we're responding to and what we need.
Well, my main concern in that question was about the Highway Patrol. It seems like they count on Monteagle to do work that the Highway Patrol used to do and should do today.
And I agree. Yes.
And I think they are taking advantage of that situation. They have a whole lot more highway patrolmen on duty.
A lot of the times, if the troopers are on, I mean, they're stretched thin. You know, everything across the board is thin right now. So you take the interstate mountain, and I think this may be, and I'm just speculating, just by listening to the troopers talk. If you take those boys and they're in the Coffee County side, you know, most of them works the district, so it's Coffee and Grundy. If they're on that end of it, and I don't know, the other night they were in a tractor trailer that had tried to get off on the shoulder and the trailer was out in the lane of travel. I guess they're thinking that we can get lights on them quicker than they can get to them, but a lot of times we end up sitting there with them the duration and they go on, you know, or they stop with us and we you know, if I'm there, I'll ask them for release. I ask them, you know, are we clear to go? But it's kind of one of those deals where you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of thing. So.
Well, I've been told that the local district, is at the bridge at the Waffle House there. From there to the coffee line down, they work that side, or they work from Georgia line to that exit there.
Gotcha.
It is how they work. And so I guess that's one reason, but it seems to me like there's a lot more calls to the west side of the mountain than there is the east side. Is that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And another thing, like the big fire you had down before you get off exit 134, the people staying in the motel said that the one tractor trailer was sitting partially almost in the lane of traffic that was hit. It had no lights on, there was nothing on. And the truck hit it, and of course you had the major fire and stuff.
Right.
Where used to, if the rest area was open, the trucks that were disabled, a lot of them could make it to the rest area, and they would pull in there,
right, and
then not be between there and 134. Do you have any thoughts?
I kind of heard the same thing. I don't know, so I don't want to speculate on it, but I'd heard I mean, he had his triangles out, I will say that, the truck that had gotten hit. I don't know about the lighting or anything. There was an eyewitness that was standing there that was actually following all that, and he was devastated by what he's seen. And he said basically the same thing that you just told me.
Well, do we know what the status of the rest area is?
I have no idea. I've not heard really anything other than what we've heard back and forth here. I don't even know really the reasonings of the rest area.
Well, as I've stated before, the rest area shut down to water leak problems under the interstate from one side to the other of the rest areas. TDOT, as recently as a phone call late last week, is still reviewing what to do because it would be a major repair. It seems that that pipe is probably close to 50 years old when they did the interstate here in Monteagle, and I'm sure there's been rust and other problems. So TDOT is working on it. There is no definite date as to when they would open the rest areas.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the fire chief?
Travis, going down the, going down the line of what Dean was just talking about, if I understand what he might be getting to, is there any financial agreement when we have these mutual aid agreements? Is there any payment back and forth when you guys respond to a call to help Tracy out and vice versa?
Just kind of one of those deals where if their town needs us and we need them, the day we need that help and we don't go to them, I don't expect them to come here.
And I'm totally in agreement with you. I think it's a good idea. I just didn't know, I don't know if he's getting towards the fact that maybe we need a financial agreement with Tennessee Highway Patrol might be a little more beneficial since we support them a whole lot more than they support us. So I don't even know if that's an option.
Back in the days, there was the Governor's Highway Safety Grant, you know, that you could get traffic directing equipment. I don't know much about that grant. I think Monteagle was a recipient one time of that grant before my time. Now they've got the VFEET grant, which we've been blessed with a couple times. We've actually gotten the one that's up this year, turned in for $82,000. That's a state fire marshal's office grant that's a $20 million cap on everything. That's for extrication equipment. That's about really the only thing that we need to update. So my mindset on this is if we give to them, right, and we're a contributor, does it up your chances of a grant? You know, rumor has it through the fire chiefs associations and stuff that, you know, you play by the rules and contribute when they contribute because, you know, before we had, that was the fire area. That's where Monteagle responded. That's where Tracy responded. That's where Pelham. Well, now there's a charter on all this stuff. That's chartered as a bona fide fire district. So, you know, the city limits is the circle, the bona fide district's the outliers, kind of like our urban development district, kind of the same principle. I don't know where the fine line is. I agree with what you're saying, and I do know that fire recovery that we deal with, the third party, that's an awesome third party agency that recoups some expense and some money for us. I think we've got a $7,000 or $8,000 bill submitted right now for them from the interstate.
Yeah, and I want to kind of reiterate that to everybody that when there's an accident on the interstate and those guys respond, they have a means of getting paid for their time and equipment and things like that by the insurance, basically by the insurance company who would be covering the crash for a private individual.
Right,
So, but I guess, I don't know if Dean, this is where you were going, if there's a possibility to get some recouping funds from Tennessee Highway Patrol if we have any kind of agreement that helps pay our overtime or equipment loss or anything like that.
And a lot of the things on this, I mean, this is, you know, you used to, you guys see the new white pickup truck running around town. You've seen the silver Tahoe running around town. You see that thing all the times of the day and night. And I've told everybody, I'm not switching my gear out of that Tahoe and that truck. That's what I'm assigned to. I'm up here all times of the day and night. I don't care. I don't have any set hours. I don't make overtime. I'm a salaried employee. It's the way it pays out. And in 4 years' time, I've had one sick day that I've reported to the city. I've got the truck ready to go. But my point to this is, it's just like the other night, you know, I've got a couple of friends that listen to the radio and listens to the scanner and is in the area and watches the TDOT cameras. The Smart Ways dispatch watches the TDOT cameras. We get drove nuts for brake fires around the 140, down around the Martin Springs exit on the westbounds. So it's actually eastbound side, but the west mountain. To me, we'll hold the engine on top. That's just less people on the interstate for something to go wrong. That's less wear and tear on our equipment. That's less everything. And the pickup truck or the Tahoe or whatever will run off and spot that to see, is that a legit call for service or are we wasting fuel and chasing ghosts, as we call it. That's been pretty, I mean, we've been pretty diligent on doing that. I carry a J-hook and a tow strap in my truck, and I mean, if we have a wreck, we ran several wrecks on Little R Curve. I mean, if the troopers are not there, I take pictures of it and hook tow straps to it and jerk it off the side of the road. I just feel like that's crew safety, that's personal safety. And I mean, we do that in Nashville. It says right on the side of the road, if vehicles are able to move them off on the shoulder. Why can't we do it on the mountain? Because if we're having a foggy night and my crews, anybody from our crew gets killed, I mean, kind of falls back on me in the city. Yeah. So just.
Well, and that's where I was going with the mutual aid thing with the fire department. Is different, I think, than the police department in that the THP has always, what I feel like, abused the town of Monteagle, wanting the fire department and at times police department to go on the scene, and then on a foggy day, like the chief talks about accidents and stuff, and we're down there just directing traffic in the Little R Curve, and they're not stopping traffic, and if not, unless you've been down there and seen 18-wheeler trucks come by you and just brushing the equipment, the people, and then it's a very dangerous situation.
Yes.
And simply because they would refuse to block the interstate off until you can make it safe, I feel like that the town of Monteagle needs to have some interaction with THP or Tennessee Department of Safety, that there's certain protocols that are in place for the safety of our fire and police.
Yes.
And I think we should try to establish that.
I'll work on that with you, Chief. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, just a follow-up. So I'm familiar with the company we've engaged with to get reimbursements from
Yes.
accidents we work and fires we work on the interstate. I haven't heard you talk about requesting reimbursement when we are just there doing traffic control. Is that something we do, or is that something we could do?
It's hard to recover kind of a shadow claim. You know, they want proof. So if we use oil dry, if we use pads or booms, you know, to catch diesel fuel, if we use foam for fire suppression, if we use manpower, if it's something that's a hard expense, it's a recoupable cost.
So that's not a venue to try to recoup some of these
That's right.
expenses.
Yes. And I'll say this, and I mean, you know, and I'm not getting up on the podium to preach it, but I've been on several fire departments and even paid departments, and this is one of the few areas that does respond to traffic controls and treason, right? So, you know, I was used to the city, and I know we're not the city, and we rely on every resource. The police officers back there pull fire hose, and I've carried a gun in my back pocket to provide coverage for them. I mean, that's just what we have to do in small town USA. But my point to this is if we're doing this, right, and we're responding to these traffic controls, well, Murfreesboro, Metro, Nashville, I'm familiar with those. They have more resources than we do, and they're not doing it. And we've said that. We've talked amongst ourselves on that.
Well, we appreciate the coordination, both you and the police department, and how you guys work together on stuff. And
Yes.
going the extra mile.
Last question I got. What's the final sort of vehicle swapping around and moving now that we got those two new trucks? Are you going to keep driving the Blade, or are you moving the
No, so the Tahoes went to AJ. AJ keeps the Tahoe. He had the Crown Vic, if you guys remember. That car was a hand-me-down from the police department's transmission shot in it. He's in the Tahoe. I'm in the new white pickup truck. The benefit to that is he's working nighttime first responder. The med bag's in that for Monteagle for nighttime, and he's running nighttime where I'm in the valley, and we run out of the truck during the daytime for medical calls. And of course, the truck falls into the command vehicle, and if I'm ever out, then he can pick up having a command vehicle or chase vehicle, whatever we need to call it, to have it for quick response. Then the red truck, of course, is a brush truck. It's in general fleet for firefighter use. I mean, those guys roll up when they need to.
Okay, building department?
Building, I think I've done 3 certs of occupancies in the last couple of weeks. I just finished one up today at Cooley's. Still working with for those of you on the planning commission that knows the story, I'm working with the property owner at the Mountain Market, the new gas station over on Main, about the pylons. They talked to me today about possibly trying to remove those. So that's scraps. They're going to try to get those poles down. About where I'm at with that.
Okay. Any questions on the building department?
Can you remind me again what the next date is, court date or whatever, on the Mountain Inn?
So the Mountain Inns, if you remember, we come before Judge Raines. Judge Raines assessed a fine on the Mountain Inn based from, I don't remember the dates, and I don't want to say it out on record without knowing, but it's sometime in September when I sent them a letter specifying their guilt and fault, or specifying their fault. Judge Raines assessed a fine, I think it was around, $3,800, Deb, somewhere in that neighborhood, on the fine from that date to the court date, right? And so now he's done with that. The legal sides of this city court is done with that. So now this falls back on to, and we're working on this, it falls to the mayor and the alderman. You guys are going to be the board for the hearing, and I have to set up a hearing date as the building or the codes official, bring him before you guys, and now we move into the next step. If you remember 2 weeks ago, I recalled that I was the hearing officer and we was going to have a hearing, and I'm still moving for demo as the building official. But now it's going to come before you guys because Judge Raines gave me a model ordinance, I think from impasse and some other neighboring communities, that actually the building inspector was the hearing officer. Monteagle specifies in our ordinance and code that the board, the mayor, and alderman is the hearing officer.
So we would, at that hearing, then we would be deciding about demolition or?
Yes, so we'll listen to
and
his,
reimbursement for it?
Yes, we'll listen to his testimony on it and make a decision. You guys will make a decision whether we move for renovations and AI, I'm still gonna remind you of the AIAs, and that building's gonna have to be modernized to current code and standards of 2021 editions. So that's gonna be, it's 50% of the actual building cost. That's the state law on that stuff. So that's what we're following as well in our municipal ordinance, and just the renovations alone to meet the current standards, I think is gonna blow us out of the water on that.
So when that hearing comes, are you going to be able to provide us with some numbers?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Yes, I have a whole file on it.
And we have the authority to, I'm just, question,
Yes.
we have the authority to make that decision?
Based
to
on our
force that
ordinance,
issue?
yes, and I'm working with Sam. I've talked to Sam a couple times back and forth. Right now, we're just kind of limping to the holidays because we have to give a 2-week notice on it. There's a couple loose ends that we have to meet up on the service of the paperwork. So,
All right, thank you.
yes, sir.
Any other questions? Ordinance?
For ordinance, we got the three cases that we're getting ready to send to court on the court date for January that we spoke about today. Got 2 on that end of town, 1 on this end. We have one that was on the same end over here, his neighbors, and that house is sold, cleaned up. They completely revamped it. Now it's listed for sale. So that 4th one that was going that we spoke about last night, that one's done, taken care of. And then we got the 2 on over towards the cemetery and the 2 off of Summerfield, about that, or 1 off Summerfield. Now that other's cleaned up. So that's all we got for that. I forgot what the date is for court, but those will be there for that. And then nothing else hold except for them big cases. Got 2 houses that probably work with Travis on either get cleaned up or condemned, one or the other. So working on that. That's pretty much it for now.
Any questions on ordinance? Thank you. Parks and Recreation? Martha Ann, do you want to do parks? You don't have anything at this time? Okay. Utility Manager? Any questions for the Utility Manager?
Do you know anything more about TDOT and the rest area than did they talk to you about the water leak at all? Couldn't they just bore that?
Yes.
If it's under a casing, they can take it out of the casing. I don't know if it's run across under a casing or not. They could bring a line up on this side of the road.
So there are solutions.
Oh, yeah.
There's something else probably
Yeah,
happening.
I'd be shocked if they didn't have casing on that.
Okay, any other questions for the Utility Manager?
Well, mine would, in reference to that, would be, I think the city council needs to take a stronger position with TDOT about fixing that problem and getting the rest areas open to allow eastbound traffic coming up the mountain that are disabled or having car trouble or truck, they have a place to go. And then even on the westbound, it would appear to me that there's usually a lot of truck traffic goes in there if you look. And every one of those, it's kind of like the brake check out here. Some of them stop and take a break and then continue on. And it seems to me like since the rest areas have been closed, that the traffic accidents down the mountain have increased, and then the fire calls up the mountain has increased as well. And I think for a public safety reason, we need to have an official response from TDOT. This has been going on, John, for how long? A year?
You're close to it.
So how do we do that? How does the city get involved in that?
I'll continue to call TDOT as I have. If they give me the same answers, I'll tell them we need an official response and see if we get anything.
Can we ask for a meeting with someone?
We'll ask.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'll send Senator Bowling an email as well. She's usually pretty good about following up with that stuff.
You can probably get more done that way.
I've done that. I've spoken to representatives. Any other questions for the Utility Manager? Utility Department? Okay. Streets had nothing. Planning Commission was just the training. The December meeting was canceled, as you know. Beautification and Tree Board.
I was going to say no report, but two things. In the minutes, I was just checking. It's got me as reporting under Parks and Rec, and I don't report under Parks and Rec. I report under beautification. At the last beautification meeting, we spent a good amount of time talking about all of the Christmas events and feel like we need to give the new people coming in or whatever instruction to get a separate person to be in charge of the parade. The mayor, it's ridiculous to have the mayor in charge of the parade. And we need to do better. It's embarrassing how short it was. I've had something to report from tourism and beautification.
Is that where you want me? Okay. Speaking of TDOT, we're about 6 months out from bridge construction. Is that about right? No?
Closer to 10. They plan on bidding it in October of 26.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. I would like to request from tourism dollars a social media manager. I think it's important that we not lose sales revenue the best that we can during this construction process. It's going to be here sooner rather than later, and it's going to be a challenge for our businesses. And so I would like to start ramping up, kind of like it's Visit Monteagle, but try to ramp up how to better help our businesses market during the time of construction. I've been quoted different rates, but about 150 to 300 a month.
What does it entail?
Posting pretty pictures. Visit Tracy City is a really good example of what they do. They talk about the beautiful areas, and they put pictures, and they talk about the different businesses. I think ours would be a little bit different. It'd be more marketing our businesses, I would say, and to a bigger audience, and to focus on marketing Monteagle.
And if I'm understanding, if I'm understanding this just for everybody's benefit, I think we're looking at a potential contract with somebody, not necessarily a new city employee or something. It would be a part-time contract with somebody to initiate and keep active our social media. And obviously we're focused on different things as different seasons and events come around, but in general it would be focusing not only on the area and its beautification, but also specialty on businesses to come visit, and maybe it's a new business every month that gets some sort of recognition in social media accounts.
Well, it's
So
something we can discuss with the new budget. I think would be appropriate.
Well, that was my intent as well, but we feel like we probably need to get a jump start on this, so we wanted to see if this could be something we could talk about. I don't know if it needs to be a workshop, or if we can, I don't know if this is an amendment or what, to see about opening a contract sometime, maybe in February-ish, opening a contract with somebody and getting that paid so we can get a jump start, not only on the construction that's happening, but also just a jump start with a lot of our events that we've got lined up for next year.
Well, I think
Would we
that's a
ask for
workshop
proposals?
topic. That's a workshop topic. That's a lot to consider, I think, which we can schedule in January.
Okay, so we'll have a workshop in January on this?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I have.
Here, we'll have to ask.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ira.
Imagine Monteagle?
Actually, nothing real to report. We did, I'll just say, we had beautification tourism meeting last week. Had a lot of discussions about, not only about this social media person, but a few other things. One thing we're looking at is, I'm calling it a kiosk, but I'm finding out that that's probably the wrong thing to call it. But we're talking about a structure in the triangle out here, kind of in front of that the city owns, that runs along the Mountain Goat Trail. It's really more of a patio, like a stone patio, circular patio that would have some signage, some maps, and some other things on placards that we wanted to do as a part of a beautification effort, but also a tourism effort in having a welcome sign there for the Welcome to Monteagle sign would be a part of that. People coming from the 135 exit direction and all. I met today with some people about grant opportunities, so we're looking at some money for that. Just so you know, I reached out to Travis Wilson last week to ask him if they had the capability and approximately what it would cost to do a rendering for us, which would actually include design. I told him I'm not committing any money for the city. He was going to talk to his folks and see if that's something that they do and what they could do for us. So I hope to get a quote from him. Our intent is to go after a grant that could pay for the design and construction of this thing. And it would go through several iterations. We'd let the community get involved in terms of the design, and the city council and planning commission and everybody else. There'd be a lot of input in terms of what the final product would look like. But just wanted to let everybody know that's kind of, we're working that direction for this empty triangle that's in front of the DeBose and next to City Hall.
Is that city owned?
As far as I'm aware, it is.
Belongs to Mountain Goat Trail.
Oh, it belongs to the Mountain Goat Trail, and we've been given permission by them the board has given us permission to do something with that. So they would obviously be involved in the design.
And don't you feel there's more traffic at 134 than 135?
Well, we would hopefully do something similar over at 134, but that's got to wait until after after TDOT gets started and finished. This is just to kind of cover this side of town, and it's an unused opportunity. I think that piece of property, and Mountain Goat has agreed to allow us to do something. So that's in the works. Just wanted to let everybody know, and we'll tell you more about it as we move a little further along.
Okay. Anything else for Imagine Monteagle?
That's it.
All right. Alderman comments. Dean?
Yeah, a few things. School lights. The school lights are still working on Saturday and Sunday real well, but they haven't told the people they need to be in school. We need to have some sort of something in place to see that the school lights work like they're supposed to. I think it creates a false sense of people when there is school, that people say, oh, they don't pay any attention to them because they come through on Monday and they're flashing, and they came through the day before and they were flashing. And we need to have someone in the city be over that and see that that's done like it should be. And is that something we need to do at a workshop, or?
No, that's something for the Board of Education of Marion County that I've been in touch with from time to time, and they say it's theirs. I said, well, we should have a way to turn them on and off at appropriate times. So I think we can do that.
Well, for 25 years, the town of Monteagle has done that, or 30.
Well,
In Tracy and Swanee, it's the police.
Yeah,
well,
that's what it used to be here, was the police.
When there was an issue to repair it, Marion County said, those are our lights, we'll take care of it.
Well, obviously, I mean, they're working.
Yeah,
Chief,
they're working.
do you have access to those, Chief?
You have access to the timer?
I know where it's at, but we, since I've been here, we've never messed with it.
Keith M. usually says so.
So, I mean.
Yeah, I'll call Keith and see what he can do.
But I think it should be a critical thing that those work and like they're supposed to work. Chief, you have any disagreement with that statement?
I agree 100% with
Okay.
that, 100%.
Okay, anything else, Steve?
Yeah, a few things. The helipad out here, a few months ago, we talked about access. Trucks were parking, and then there was in the ball field fence, there was part of the fence down, and there was some discussion about putting a gate up there or something as an emergency access to the I call it a helipad, heliport, whatever it is. And then also the maintenance on that, whose responsibility is it? Like for painting it, where it's, the pilot has a better, well, I guess that's why used to have an X on it. Is that what it is now? Yeah. Who maintains that?
I'm not sure, I'll check.
Okay.
But there were lights out. I reported that there were lights out a couple months ago that the police reported to me. Have those been repaired?
I had thought so, but I don't know.
Do you know, Chief?
To my knowledge, I don't think so, but I can run by tonight and look.
Well, I think we need to do this in a workshop, and my idea is that we need to have specific departments that falls in under their department, and it's their responsibility to see that those are maintained and in a working condition. And the same thing for street lights. We've talked about street lights a couple of times.
Where?
Well, there were some specific ones, but I'm talking about now in general that we don't have anyone in charge of street lights, do we?
Not that I know of, but when I do get a complaint, we have made arrangements with Sequatchie Electric.
Yeah.
They've replaced some at Laurel Lake Drive, and if there are others...
Well, I've noticed here recently, in driving at night here, that there's some out, but they may have been turned off. But it used to be that on a lot of those lights, Sequatchie Valley, we were under contract with them. We paid for those, whether those were burning or not.
Yeah, those were Sequatchie lights that they...
Yeah, and we're under contract on the power. So we're paying, if that light is out, we're still paying as if that light is on. And again, it's my feeling that we need some to me, probably the road department, to have someone to check those. Used to, the police department did that. But we need to make that a part of city government, that we can get reports to the council on and see that's done. And we also talked about in the foggy weather, the reflectors that on the road are very costly, and probably the city cannot afford to put one on every city street in Monteagle. But I had mentioned the yellow ramps that you see. I see them on Clouds Hill Road. Probably everybody doesn't go out Clouds Hill Road, but if you're out through there and going toward Tracy from Monteagle, every Sequatchie Valley light pole that's there next to the road has a yellow reflector on it. I don't know who put those on. I did call Sequatchie Valley Electric, and they did not install them. And as of today, the Tracy City office did not know who installed them or where they came from, but they were, the lady was very nice and very helpful, and said that she would check with Brian, the office or the service center manager there, and get back. But I think the number one complaint right now that I'm hearing from the citizens is the roads and the safety because of the fog. And that plays right back into the interstate. It plays right back into public safety. And I think we need to spend some time on addressing that issue. And again, we can do that in a workshop, just bring it to the council's attention, see what they want to do. Another thing, last month we talked about when the city approved the rifles, I think we referred to them as AR-15 style rifles, that the city had 2 or 3 or 4, is that right, in inventory, Chief?
We did 3. I think we've got 3, yes, sir.
Okay, and those will become surplus at some point in time?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay, and what do we do with surplus weapons?
So those we're actually waiting on the training in for the new one.
I think what we approved was for a sale, a purchase.
That is correct. So we'll take all of our weapons, once we go through evidence too, and try to sell all of them together.
Okay, will something be brought before the city council on that project?
I believe so.
Yes. Before it happens?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I've got on that. Then I guess we're gonna deal with that ordinance thing on uses at the lake and stuff under new business. Is that okay?
It's under new,
What was that? I didn't hear.
the offenses against the town
Oh,
ordinance.
fine.
The other things is we've been talking previously about some allegations of improprieties in the utility on meter readings, and we put that off. It started out about an employee hearing, and then it was determined that there is no such thing as an employee having a hearing, and that was worked out. But the issue that the employee that was terminated has brought to my attention about discrepancies, supposedly alleged, or whatever the right word is, to get meter readings that are correct and billing out to the customers, that the customers have a fair and accurate bill when they pay that. And that was...
Debbie?
To my knowledge, all the meter readings are correct. We correct them as we get problems.
Okay.
We haven't had any problems with the meter readings.
Ever?
Well, I mean, we have problems, but I mean, not with someone doing anything to the meter readings. We have, errors,
Right.
and we correct those errors.
So you're telling the council that, now how's this done? When you think they're electronically read now? Is
Yes.
Okay. And then for what reasons do you think you need a call back to check a meter
Well,
reading?
sometimes the meter stops and it reads a 0 reading. So we have to go back and read it again to make sure that we need to change the meter or if it's an incorrect reading.
Okay.
Sometimes it picks up an incorrect reading.
But there's like the old time and when you had the meter sheets where they had to write in, you probably have something similar to that.
Actually, what we do is print off all the meter readings after he reads, and the girls out front go through 53 pages of meter readings, and they look to make sure that they're all correct.
But what I'm saying is that if there's a call back to a specific meter, that person, do they have a form that they're
Yes.
taking
Yes. We have a work order,
yeah, okay.
and then whoever goes out signs that work order, and then they put the reading on there, and then we'll
Turn it back into the office and then you deal with it.
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, have there been any discrepancies in that person reading that meter and what they turned in was not what was actually on the meter?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But just for clarification, when you're talking about the ladies reading 53 pages of meter readings, what they're considering normal, they're just looking at last month's reading and seeing if it matches. So there's not a physical check on the meter.
Unless they see something that they think is wrong, then they'll do a work order and send somebody out to physically read it.
And they used to tell people that the program, when we went to electronic readers, that the program would pick up an abnormal reading, or give an alert or something that
On that sheet that they have, there's a thing on the side that will say that.
okay.
What else?
Well, in that particular order, like I said, we've heard Debbie's statements of how that's done, and it's been alleged by the former employee that says that he brought to the attention of the mayor and Debbie about discrepancies that he had found on 9/22/25, and then he was fired on 9/24. And then he went on to show some particular meter readings, and he is alleging that the other employee, being Dwayne, had turned in readings on the paper that was not accurate.
Everybody makes a mistake.
Well, I agree, but if you make one every month and it's the same one, that's a little different.
I don't think all of that is accurate information.
Well, it may not be,
So
I'm not saying that it is.
if there's a discrepancy, the staff corrects it.
Yeah, but it may be something that we need to pay a little special attention to assure the customers because I'm sure in this cold weather, everybody's leaving their water running, and probably next month, you probably get a lot more calls about high bills, I would assume. And it's a whole lot easier to say, you didn't read my meter right, and I've got a $100 water bill. And so
I think that most of the people know when it's cold and that it's dripping and that their bill would be higher, number one. Number two, if a meter is malfunctioning, we change it. So we're trying to do all that we can do to get accurate bills.
Okay. So sometime, if Debbie, I can come by and ask for those in question here, and you can show the documentation. Okay, thank you. And then on employee benefits, I would like for us to have a council to get a list of the benefits we offer our full-time employees. And I'm assuming what we pay for is hospitalization, and the breakdown on that. From what all the news reports are showing, we're all going to be seeing some increases in healthcare hospitalization costs, even on the private sector, it says. And also, Debbie, I think you and I have talked about this before, is having a list of our what we pay to our employees. I don't want the names of the employees, but I want the position of the employees. Like if it's if you're on the mowing department, that person, that slot position pays what it is, in addition to any benefits, what the vacation benefits are, sick leave, all that is in the employee benefit thing. But I'd like to get all that together and have all of it in one document. And so we can see what the total cost per position is. And if council doesn't have any objection to that, I can get with Debbie and go with and get worked up what I'm requesting.
Okay. Anything else?
I think, Dean, shouldn't that be a standard though? So any full-time employee is going to be entitled to the same benefits, which is health insurance for the individual plus 3% match. So it should just be a multiplier.
Well, but I don't know, like, we get the printouts on money, on dollars, but I have no idea what we're paying positions. And then when you go to look at MTAS and compare to other cities and see what the rate is for similar positions in similar communities with the same population.
I've got that. I've shared that with you. I can bring it to the top of your inbox, but it's
We've done that.
It's our spreadsheet of our employees, their rates, but it doesn't reflect the latest raises. But on the second tab, it has the MTAS salary survey.
Okay. So you can show me how to do all that. Okay.
Yeah, I've got all that.
Anything else, Gene?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the most recent salary stuff. So if you could give me the most recent data, Debbie, I can plug it into the sheet and share it with everybody.
On the billing from our city attorney, the billing for October 1st was submitted to the city and paid. Submitted is dated 10/1/25. It's paid on 10/22/25 in the amount of $1,577.50. On all of his other invoices, he always itemizes what the subject matter is, the time, whether it's, here's one in November, it's a 0.1, follow up on subpoenas, $25. Well, I'm not questioning any of that, but this one for October, there is no itemization on hours, rate, or the amount. It just has the total amount, and then it has the description now. And for instance, it says on 9/22/25, receive and review new Higgins case, transmit to City Hall, telephone conference with Mayor Maloof. And it doesn't say how long it took or what that cost us. And in that particular case, what is the Higgins case? Is that somebody that sued us? Or?
That's a case where a member of the archdiocese was parked at the church and living there.
Oh, that's the motor home.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's one 9/24/25 telephone conference with Mayor Maloof regarding various items. Well, I guarantee you probably don't remember what them various items was in September. I couldn't. And then telephone conference with Mayor Maloof, police chief call regarding subpoena to Attorney Bible Willis. And then Here's one, attempts to download Kilgore footage, email regarding same to chief, message from and message to, and telephone conference with Mayor Malou. But anyway, there's nothing there.
Okay, I'll get those answered.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you for bringing them up.
They should correct that.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, okay. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Grant, anything?
Just real quickly.
Thank you.
A little bit piggybacking on Dean's asking about the salaries and such. But I thought we had talked about a while back, we were going to have a workshop with, to go over our personnel structure for the city, kind of who's in charge of what kind of things and titles and all, and that kind of seemed to fall through the cracks. So I'd just like to make a request that we have a workshop to discuss our structural organization for the personnel in the city sometime in January.
I'm looking at 2 workshops in January. I just need to firm up the dates.
Well, one would be for what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and what's the second one?
Whatever else came up, street lights, parades, whatever else we want to talk about. But one of them will be dedicated to this employee situation.
Okay, all right, that's all I got, thank you.
Thank you. Dan?
Yeah, on the Veterans Memorial over here that Dean referred to in the last month's meeting we were talking about, and Martha had requested prior to the meeting tonight a thought about the possibility of working with the Warner Museum and trying to find maybe a couple pieces of equipment that could be donated to that what we call a Veterans Memorial Park. Is that where we're at? And we didn't really meet to discuss a whole lot of the parameters about that yet, but you have some ideas on that, and
Let me update you on that. Johnny Westerfield met with I don't know the guy's name, but he's supposed to be working on a sketch or a drawing of what we have talked about in general. And then Johnny and I had discussed about someone that could deal with the Warner Museum about maybe switching out some smaller stuff periodically, and then we would need to know that before when they do the design layout and make that all part of. And I know Johnny met with him. He called me the day he met with the gentleman, and he said he would get back to me when they got closer on some drawings. And I have not heard from Johnny as of today.
Well, Dean, I'd like to hear from you because I thought we were going to meet. I'm still not clear on the site, what work has to be done. So when you have time, if you would give me a call, we can make an appointment to look at that.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah, we probably
everybody going
need to
in
look
different
at-
directions.
Well, we probably need to look at the flag we've got over there. We've got a light on there that's shining in the middle, and the American flag getting lit up tonight.
Well, we need to look at a lot of things.
Yeah, we need to do a whole lot of that stuff. And,
Okay.
I'm working with the Werner Museum on getting some trains on display in the park in Tracy City, so I'm happy to talk to them about that. I know they just, I'm talking to them quite frequently now, so I'm happy to bring it up. They, I know they did just recently purchase another military museum, so they got a lot of stuff coming.
Great.
That's what the APC out front is part of that.
And I would also like to echo the mayor's comments about Christmas season upon us, and trusting that everyone has a wonderful, blessed Christmas. It's always a big deal at my house. You can't tell by driving by, but what goes on inside is big. So we enjoy Christmas, and I trust you do too, and God bless each of you.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, I got a few things. Most of them are unfortunately non-updates, but so I'll go through those first, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about Tree City and the tree board and some of the work we've been doing. First, I have been on MTS about judge review, which we talked about 2 months ago. She did not respond to my first email request, so I followed up with her. We talked about the sign ordinance 2 months ago, and then again last month, and we were going to do a workshop on that. I haven't heard anything about that workshop. I went ahead and asked Kronberg and Associates, who's helping us with our zoning, for a price to review our sign ordinance. This would be a written review, not any sort of back and forth like they're helping us with our zoning, but just a simple, this is what it says and this is what we think of it. So I hope to have that price back. He said he should have me a price by the end of this week. So at least we have something to reflect off of. I think that should begin in the planning commission, but as far as I know, we've only talked about it in city council, so we're going to take action. I'd like to think about how that might go forward.
Well, to me, I think we should come up with some kind of ordinance and send it to the planning commission, because I'm not sure that they would create what we're thinking about.
Well, I mean, they're charged with it, so.
Well, we'll help them.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, so, okay. Well, hopefully Eric will get back maybe with some numbers and we can at least
For a joint
decide
meeting
whether
would
we
be
want to
fine,
start.
something, but you're right, we've been talking about it. I thought that it would be coming from the mayor and alderman, but if you think it's planning commission or a joint meeting, we can do it, but we need to do it.
Well, it's in the zoning ordinance, so
Yeah,
it
I know.
should
I
originate from
understand,
then.
but
So anyway, I'll let you know when I have that number back from Eric.
Thank you.
For the committee that I think I spoke about several months ago that is looking at downtown zoning and adjacent residential areas, we have, at least for now, finished our work. So we have a document together that we're going to have a public meeting on. I'm still trying to nail down the dates, but it's going to be in January. I think it's going to be on a Tuesday, late in the afternoon. And so the mayor has, I asked the mayor to put the package that we put together up on the website. Are you going to be able to do that?
I think so.
So we're going to put it up on the website, and then the affected landowners are going to receive a letter so that they can go and review it before the meeting. And then we'll bring in Eric and Elizabeth, who are the two people helping us with that zoning review for this meeting in January. But the hope is that we can explain it to both the Planning Commission and the community, and hopefully get some buy-in on it. Again, the idea behind the whole thing is to encourage retail and commercial development within our downtown corridor. It's just focused on the downtown corridor. Several of us in the on this committee have recognized the need to look more broadly at our C2 and our C3 and figure out how to make that zoning ordinance work better. But we kind of wanted to do one thing at a time. So again, that'll be happening in January. I'm looking forward to sharing that with the community and hopefully getting some feedback so we can move that forward.
And when I get the date and time, I'll put it on the website.
Okay. And the last thing, so zoning is one of these projects that came out of Imagine Monteagle. And this last thing I want to talk about is also out of Imagine Monteagle. Back in January of 2025, we formed a tree board to help us better care for our tree and canopy assets in the town of Monteagle. And that was one step toward hopefully becoming what's known as a tree city. And a tree city is a national designation that the Arbor Day Foundation puts out that simply designates a town as a town that cares for and encourages its tree canopy. There's several reasons to do this. I think it's a fairly uncontroversial topic to say that we all like trees. They provide us, the town, with a whole lot of benefits. But one of the other things this does is it helps us better qualify for grants. So when we're thinking about things within the downtown corridor, within town, all across town, you want to have designations like Tree City to be able to tell the funders that you care about how your community looks and you are in the business of making it look better. So in order to become a Tree City, we need to do four things. The first is to have an Arbor Day celebration, and we've done that now twice in a row. Pretty straightforward. We plant a tree, everybody feels good. The second is to form a tree board. We did that in January 2025. That's done. The third is you need to have in your budget line at least $2 per capita that goes toward tree and tree care. And so there, I think 1,200 citizens in Monteagle, so that would be about a $2,400 annual budget. We currently have $3,000 already budgeted within beautification. So I think that would work. I would love to see some, we can talk a little bit about the naming of that budget line, but we've kind of got it taken care of. And then the fourth thing we have to do is we have to have a tree ordinance. And what a tree ordinance does is it talks about how we as a community care for our trees. And so the State Division of Forestry sent me an example that I've worked on, and I wanted to take a few minutes with the council to just kind of go over what's in it and see how the council feels. This is probably the hardest part of being a tree city. is saying that we have an ordinance. So I'm not going to take a whole lot of time in doing this, and I shared this all with y'all by email. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, you can look at it in your inbox. So the first page is a whole bunch of definitions. So I don't want to spend any time wasting time talking about definitions. But basically, you have two kinds of trees when you're talking about Monteagle. In general, you have public trees and you have private trees. And the way this ordinance is written is we're only dealing with public trees. So this ordinance simply talks about what trees in our parks and in our right-of-ways are going to look like. It grants that authority to the tree board, which is a group of citizens that are made up of folks who are interested in trees. And it has some pretty straightforward things about what they do. It basically says they're in charge, the tree council is in charge of public trees. And it gets into some details. It says we're not going to plant exotic tree species. It says we're not going to plant trees in public spaces that are too close together. It says we're not going to plant trees too close to curbs so that they tear up the curbs, or too close to sidewalks so they block the view. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. There's limits on distance from trees that we would plant from fire plugs, and this is not talking about trees that are already there, just trees that we might plant. And it talks about how we're going to care for these trees. Again, it's nothing exciting. It basically just says we're going to care for our trees in a proper manner. Now, one of the things about having a tree board is that you need to have an arborist on that tree board. David O'Neill from High Canopy Tree Service, who's in the audience, he's volunteered to be our arborist for the town if we choose to go forward with this. So that makes it pretty straightforward. He's there to give us advice and help us out. If we want to hire him to do some work, that's good too. I'm sure he wouldn't turn that down. Some tree ordinances, just so everybody's aware, some tree ordinances deal with trees on private lands. And I removed all that from our ordinance because I think that the town of Monteagle cares for its trees in ways that's not necessary. Now, we have some existing tree canopy and tree planting requirements within our zoning ordinance. This doesn't change any of that. It keeps all that the same. The only way it talks about private trees is it does give the town authority for diseased, dying, and unsafe trees. It allows us the authority, just like we have when we're talking about Mountain View Inn, with it being a blight in the community that is a safety hazard. If there is a tree that is an obvious safety hazard and that landowner chooses not to deal with it, then it does give us some authority to go in there and act. But that's the only authority it grants on private property.
And
very
insect
limited.
Insect ridden as well.
In what?
Insect. Bugs.
Yes, so we would have an arborist say that tree is unsafe and it needs to be removed. We would work with that landowner and say, can you please remove this tree? It's a threat to your neighbor. Tennessee has a lot of laws about trees that are threats to neighbors as well, and it becomes a liability. But anyway, that's the only time it deals with private trees, other than it does allow a private landowner who has a really nice tree that they like to petition to have their tree become a landmark tree. And again, that's just something where the private landowner wants to do that. And it allows them to perhaps, if you have a landmark tree, there's specific funding available to care for landmark trees. So we could do the same thing if we had a really nice tree in our town. We could declare it a landmark tree, and it would give some special ability to hire somebody to take care of that tree.
When you say we have a special tree, you're talking about on our city property.
On our city property. This is only dealing with city property trees. And it's got penalties for messing with city property trees, which are penalties for dealing with city property anyway. It's the same typical $50 an infraction, but again, it's only for city trees. And that's it. So what it does is it allows us, it gives us standards for cares for our public trees, and gives the opportunity for folks on private lands to talk about their trees if they want to. But otherwise, it doesn't change any of our existing ordinances on trees and canopy and private property. I think it's right for the town of Monteagle because I think being a tree city is going to be good for us in the long run. So I shared this with the council because I wanted y'all to review it and let me know if you have concerns about it. I'd like to bring this forward for a vote. I've got a few things to fill in. The state has recommendations on which tree species you plant. We just got to plug and play and drop that in. There are a few things to drop in like that. But I'd love to hear any comments anybody has about it.
Any comments from the alderman for Nate on this?
Yeah.
I think it's a worthwhile project and something that needs our attention.
Yeah, there was, I read through it earlier today, and there's a couple of clerical errors that need to be corrected on this with city and town going back and forth. The other thing is, I like that I hope it's still in there. I like that it's talking about in new plantings, we're only planting native species to the plateau, so that we don't end up with a bunch of city, what they've done in a lot of larger cities, they've planted some non-native trees and plants that are all falling over and not doing well and stuff. So I like the idea that we're keeping everything native species to the plateau. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see this thing next month, and I'll just emphasize again, it helps with any kind of grant writing to call ourselves a tree city.
What document do you need, Nate? Would it be an ordinance?
So I need to fill in some of the blanks.
No, but what do you call the document?
And then we'll create, it will be an ordinance.
So you need 2 readings?
Yeah, it'll need to be put in an ordinance format.
All right, so if you'd have it for the January meeting in ordinance format, we can do a first reading.
Yep.
So what are the cons of it? Those are the pros, what's the cons?
More words. I mean, it's the reality is it's creating a new ordinance. I think.
No, but is there any reason why we should not have a tree board or tree council?
If you don't like
Is that your question?
No, I just,
Yeah.
he was telling the pros, I just wondered what the cons were.
Well, I think some of these do infringe on private property rights, and that's why this one I deleted all that. So it just we're not Tullahoma.
Good.
Yeah, we're not Tullahoma. So Tullahoma has one that I used as part of the model ordinance, and it had a bunch of things dealing with private trees. And I think ideally we would look at our zoning ordinance as our landscaping ordinance, and we would blend all these together so all the information was in one place. But I hate to let perfection get in the way of progress. And I think the way this is written, I tried to write it in such a way so that it doesn't step on the landscape ordinance or impact the landscape ordinance or conflict with it.
Martha Ann?
I'm concerned about new businesses that are going to cut down a bunch of trees.
So that's current, we have current ordinances that deal with that.
We do.
Yeah, within the commercial district, our ordinances for several years have limited tree loss without a site plan. Our current zoning ordinance requests that existing trees be saved whenever possible. So that's all within our existing ordinance. We're not trying to reinvent that
But
wheel.
if they cut down 10 trees, do they have to replace those 10 trees?
There is a formula in the zoning ordinance. It's within the landscape ordinance. We'd have to look at exactly what it is. But my reading of the landscape ordinance, it checks all the boxes for a tree ordinance in requiring appropriate planting.
You had mentioned a few meetings ago, like the property from Overton Street to Bennett Avenue, where the goat trail is, that there was a land swap to the people on the north side of the goat trail. Is that, the reason I'm asking is can we take an area like that, we in the city, and do some trees and develop that to where, like right now, the goat trail looks like a go-kart racetrack or something. Like, you go on up from Bennett Avenue on, and you have an area where there's trees over it, and a lot of it is. But I think that area to there, if we were a tree city, that we might want to take a project to come in there and do something and show people what we're about.
We actually have a current grant with the Tennessee Division of Forestry to do stormwater mitigation, where we'll be working to plant some trees in front of the fire department and get rid of some of that gravel and replace it with grass to try to do some beautification in there. That grant also has money to plant trees in Hannah Pickett Park. And my understanding, Tyler's in the back, he can dispute me, but he's the urban forestry, the Division of Forestry. But my understanding is, as long as we request an amendment, I think I've got 6 or 8 trees to replace the ones that were taken down around the playground. If we want to take a couple of those and move them over there, I think that's a matter of just getting a grant amendment. But yes, in fact, the Mountain Goat Trail Alliance was just awarded a fairly large grant. I should know how much it was, but we'll be planting trees on the DeBose, that new section that we built on Claude Hoback's whole property. We're going to be planting trees on both sides of that with some of this grant money.
Okay, thank you.
So it sounds like if everybody's comfortable, I'll get with Debbie and we'll turn this into an ordinance for next month and can have a real review on it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
We should do a first reading on it.
All right.
Thank you.
That was my big item.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Moving on to old business. I'll accept a motion to accept on second reading ordinance. What happened? I thought somebody said something down there. I'll accept a motion on second reading of ordinance 16-25, moving funds into the capital account.
I'll make a motion to approve on second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Well, I reiterate my comments that I don't see the urgency, and I'm not sure it's the proper move to make at this time. Any other comments?
I think we said last month that the nice thing about this is Citizens Tri-County has offered to up our interest rate, so we're now earning a higher interest rate. So this move will help us do some additional interest in addition to fostering.
Yes, as long as we can make it to June 30th.
Yeah, but one thing we didn't talk about the other month when we were talking about maybe moving some funds and stuff. If you'll remember, the Mountain Valley thing was part of a cooperative thing that went in excess of the FDIC insurance thing. Mm-hmm. And if we dealt with an individual bank and went above the FDIC limit, then we're uninsured, whereas whatever that association where we've got through Mountain Valley, they demonstrated that all funds over the, is it 250,000 or whatever it is?
Yeah, I believe all banks participate in that. I know we need to confirm that,
yeah.
And I can confirm that, but I know Tower does the same thing. I think it's something that all banks have put together to be able to distribute that risk. So
Any
I'll
further
make a note to
discussion on the
verify
motion? Roll call. Roll call vote, please.
Dean?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Nate?
that. Yes.
No. I'll accept a motion on the second reading of ordinance 17-25, budget amendment for the tourism grant. That was in your packet. Second reading.
I'll make a motion, we accept the ordinance 17-25 on second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that motion?
Yeah, I had asked Grant, this is something we've already done and we're just cleaning up the paperwork on it. Is that, I mean, we've received it and allocated it and there's no backing up. I mean, okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll accept a motion on the second reading of ordinance 18-25, purchase of the ARs from the drug fund.
I'll make a motion that we, is this first or second reading?
Second.
That we make a motion to vote on the second reading. Pass it on second reading.
Second.
What's the motion? To accept on second reading?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any, and it's been seconded, is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, it sounds like if we're going to turn in some guns and do some trading, that this may not be the right number? Is that?
No, it will.
No.
What we approved was the purchase on those invoices was for the outright purchase of those to be paid through the drug fund. So I think from what has to be done is those that we have now will be declared surplus, and they will be sold, and that money will come back to the general fund because they were not bought with drug fund money.
Is that correct? I thought I understood that it would be that this was a trade-in, so our total outlay may be less.
Well, the officer tonight said that, but when we voted on it Previously, if you look at, I've got the invoices, that was for an outright sale for the rifle and the suppressors. There was no mention of any trade-in
That's right.
whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no trade or offset, as I remember.
What Dane's saying is correct. The proposal last month was the purchase of the rifle and the suppressor. Me and Chief had a confusion on trading in other rifles. So when it comes to stuff from evidence, that's a long process, so we're not really there to trade those items. The rifles we currently have are not in working order. They wouldn't bring a whole lot of money, so they weren't included in the trade-in. And,
Are we selling the existing weapons that we have now?
no, sir, not.
Now, when we do, those will be available if we want to have a gunsmith look at them and give an evaluation or an estimate or
Yes.
or whatever. So we'll have an opportunity to get an estimate of fair market value
Yes, sir.
and condition.
Any further discussion on the motion? Voice vote? No? What, roll call? Roll call vote, please.
Dean,
Abstain?
Grant,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business. I'll accept a motion on first reading of ordinance 15-25, adding the exceptions to section 1002A. That's been in your packet that we circulated.
Yeah, we deferred that last month, didn't we?
There were supposedly going to be some corrections or verbiage, Nate, as I recall, you were going to correct it for a first reading?
I thought you were going to get some explanation for us.
Yes, that's my understanding. There was-
What explanation of what?
Well, this
Wow.
came from the planning commission, and I don't think any of us were at the planning commission.
They
where-
didn't meet.
Well, this came from the planning commission several months ago.
Okay, but they didn't meet for me to give them the word in December, so they'll be meeting in January.
So we need to defer this until,
Yeah, the only reason we deferred this is we needed new language, not just an explanation of what the, what was it, we were looking for an explanation of, I can't remember, the sketch, the definition of a sketch plan versus a site plan.
item
and some other
5, it
things.
mentions that
Yeah.
at the end.
So we not only needed an explanation, we needed some new language for this. So I'm not sure why it got brought back in front of us.
Well, I would assume that we assumed the planning commission would meet and then have something for us to look at, but I don't know.
Right, and they did not meet, so.
Did
Can
the
you
planning
send that to
commission?
Jonathan with your comments?
Did they write this, the planning commission?
No. No, Nate wrote it, didn't he? Nate, did you write this ordinance?
No, it came from the planning commission. I knew nothing about it until I saw it last month.
Southeastern.
My mistake, okay, all right. Then I will get in touch with the planning commission and get it on their agenda with the comments.
Okay, and just, we need an explanation of a definition as well as new language, so it's not just one or the other.
Well, if any of you have any thoughts, please email me so I can forward those with my request for the January meeting.
Well, what would be helpful to me is just have some context, like we're not clear on what problem they were trying to solve. It seems like they might be trying to solve the issue of an unnecessary burden to write a site plan for a small renovation.
There was question about that in the planning commission as to the size, less than 1,000 square feet.
Right.
Of someone not having to have a site plan and being able to just, as Dean Lay said last meeting, sketch it out on a napkin type of a thing. And there was discussion in the commission as to whether that would be viable or not. I don't think we ever really agreed on anything as a commission about doing that.
No. As a matter of fact, they sent it to us, didn't they, Dan? Didn't they send it to the alderman?
Yes. They
For
did
that
send it
discussion.
to us. They
Yes.
said for us to decide Right. And so you want more explanation of what that actually consists of?
Well, there were a couple of things. One, we need a definition of what a sketch plan includes. That was a little fuzzy when I think Nate pulled up the...
We had one that evening. A person had actually brought a sketch plan, and Katie had referred to that as not acceptable maybe, because it wasn't a document, as it were.
Is that on Deborah Reed's?
So, yeah, on the patio there, yeah. And so that was the question, and I really can't say, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I can't understand really why we sent it on to the council for a decision when, it wasn't.
I would like to
really
hear from the building inspector and codes, for them to look at that as well before
I think the case was, does X number person have to have a building, site plan paid for to say, hey, I want to build this on this lot?
Yeah, and I think in Deborah Reed's case, the little patio thing, everybody thought it would be ridiculous to have a survey and a site plan. And so the debate was, how do you get around that? But if you read this, it just says if it's less than 1,000 feet, additions to buildings.
We would accept a site.
And that little patio thing was not, to me, was not an addition to the building. It was part of the ground.
Oh, and what I brought up last time too is the item number 5, talking about new buildings where the total gross floor area does not exceed 1,000 square feet. I had an issue with that because any new buildings could be, we talked about this with our new zoning, we could have these long skinny lots and stuff, which could have less than 1,000 square feet that we believe do need to have a site plan, an official site plan. So that was the second part of that, of what we were going to have them go back and look at and reword.
Well, I'm fine with that.
You got that? To take back?
Okay, we'll put that off till next month then. And I'll deal with the planning commission for their January meeting. I'll accept a motion of first reading of ordinance 19-25, offenses against the town property.
Having read that, I don't see a real problem with any of those additions to that ordinance, so I'll make a recommendation, a motion for 19-25 on first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir. Are we going to post signage on these areas that are affected by this ordinance? So that
I would when it's
the people that are potentially violating it would obviously know they're in violation.
It would be like giving them notice.
Yes, and then the other thing that I brought up last time is, like at the lake, that I think the town of Monteagle needs to make sure that where they're posting it is property that the town owns or controls. And I sent Nate a copy of a survey today that clearly showed, I believe it was 0.6 of an acre or something that came across the road and ran along the lake just for him to, and I'd be glad to give everybody one, but I just said.
Yes, please, I'll need that.
And we had talked about maybe checking with the adjoining property owners up the road to see if perhaps they had surveys, but I'll send one to an email there to the office here, that PDF file of that tract of land.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, this ordinance 11-201 has always dealt with prohibited uses in Laurel Lake. I didn't change anything to it other than remove the prohibition on swimming because we don't have otherwise a place for people to swim, and it's a big lake. But the point is a good one, particularly after Dean shared that survey. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of public property upon which one could enter that lake to swim. But that's neither here nor there. I think the current ordinance 11-201, it stays pretty much like it is. What we did was add 11-202, which is to try to give our police officers a few more tools when dealing with other town-owned property. Because for some reason, the only town-owned property listed in the ordinance right now is Laurel Lake. So we added this language about other prohibited uses in our parks and town-managed property, so we don't own Parton, but we do manage it in City Hall.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the language there, town-managed property, is kind of key.
Yeah. So I would like to move that we amend this ordinance and add the sentence, all previous versions of Chapter 2, Section 11-20, of Chapter 2, Section 11 are hereby repealed and replaced. So again, don't want to add more words to the ordinance without need.
Does that necessitate a new first reading?
I wouldn't think so.
The motion agrees and the person seconded agrees.
So this is a new motion to amend the ordinance as submitted to add the language, we are repealing Chapter 2, Section 11 as currently
Yeah, but it
written.
doesn't work that way. You have someone that made a motion and it's seconded. The person that, no,
I
you
guess
can't
we have
make
to vote
it.
it down.
Please,
Okay.
the person that made the motion, would you amend your motion based on Nate's verbiage?
I would do that.
Will the person that seconded the motion agree with that and second the new motion?
I will second the second motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this renovation?
Thank you.
Revision?
Thank you, Mayor Robert.
Thank you. You're welcome. Is there any further discussion?
I need him to tell me what it is.
I'm gonna write it down here.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Last item under new business is something we've been talking about. I had contacted the person that did our rate study and asked for an update. You have his proposal. I request approval to proceed with that so we can review. Sadly, we've had last year a loss in the enterprise fund, so we need to review the rates. Do I need a motion? I'll accept the motion to accept the proposal for the rate study update.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal for our new rate study.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it, but I've got a couple questions.
Yeah, well, that's it. All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there discussion on the motion?
So we just did a rate study last year, correct? The same Buddy Petty did seeing it, and they were looking at a 5-year out plan, if I'm remembering correctly, on the rate study and rate increases and steadiness and everything. Why are we being forced to do a new rate study a year later? Or are we being forced?
The 5-year was for the capital improvement plan, and I think we had said collectively by consensus that we should review the rates every year or so.
But I think we need that other contract that we passed with them and put down side by side there, because I thought there was language in that contract that dealt with another rate increase that was coming up maybe sometime in the near future.
Well, this update is more for the capital improvement plan, because we've done some work with grants. We're going to be doing some more work, like phase 2 of I&I, et cetera, the lift station at Waffle House. So I thought it would be a good idea to get an updated rate study, whether it's the 2-year proposal that you're referring to or whatever it was. I think we need to review it again.
But we can review it without doing another contract, can't we?
Can't we just review the out terms of the existing rate study?
I'm sorry?
Can't we just review the out years of the existing rate study?
I think it would be more proper to have a professional do it.
So I just have been working with the Tracy City Water Board to write a grant that we should know about in the next couple of weeks, which will get us both a rate study, a capital improvement plan, and 10-year operating plans.
But there's a long term on that, and I'd rather take a look at this before we have 2 years of losses.
Well, I mean, we should know about the grant in the next 30 days.
So, and then how long does that take? After the 30 days?
will begin immediately. We need to have results within a calendar year, and so the idea was to start in February. So I think this is going to get done already.
I don't know that. I don't know how long it'll take them to do that study. I think we said we would review it. I think we need to review it. I think there were changes in the capital improvement plan, and if what we had projected to hold holds, then fine. If we have to change it, then we have to change it. And I think we had left that meeting saying, even though it talked about a 2-year proposal or whatever for increases, we said we would review it. And I think it's become crucial that we review it.
Just out of curiosity, what's changed in the capital reserve fund for that, for this?
They're refining the numbers on I&I. We're putting together numbers for the Waffle House lift station. We're buying some equipment for the metering that we all wanted done. So there are some issues coming up since the last rate study.
Yeah, I mean, we should be doing a new rate study and a new capital improvement plan in the spring. As part of this grant, we won't have to pay anything for it.
I don't know that. Well, I'm sure you're right, but I don't know how long it'll take to implement when they get that plan done. Because if we can get this done and reviewed quickly, we may need an increase regardless of what the Tracy City bunch comes up with.
Well, we've already voted to have another rate increase that we voted last year for a rate increase that becomes effective July 1 of 2026.
Yeah, and that was part of this rate study.
Right.
Yes. And I'm saying there are changes that may necessitate a change in that.
Can we just have a roll call vote and get this over with, or what do we need to do? Or what are our options?
Does it? Well, I'll do a roll call vote. Go ahead.
Dean?
No.
Brett?
No.
Dan?
Yes.
Nate?
No.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, there being no further business, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Stand up.
Okay.